Before this video begins, I'd just like to give an extra special thank you to my patron, the Beast Boss. Links to join the Patreon can be found in the description down below. The Sea Devils have just been redesigned, or have they? Okay, so I already posted my initial reaction to what we thought was a Sea Devils redesign from a leaked set photo from The War Between the Land and the Sea. If you want to watch that, I'll make sure to have it linked somewhere in this video. But there's now been a lot of speculation online after that initial post and the initial time we saw that image that this might not actually be an actual Sea Devil from The War Between the Land and the Sea, and they might not have been as drastically redesigned as that image led us to believe. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about your comments that you left on that video and some other theories that I've seen across the internet about this leaked design from The War Between the Land and the Sea. And I also want to give a quick spoiler warning before I get into the video, because I am going to be showing the image leaked from the set during this video. So just a quick spoiler warning if you don't want to see that leaked set image. But with all that being said, let's get into your theories. So the first comment I've actually got here isn't actually a theory, it's a comment from Jimmy Doctor, who is actually the person who took the image that has been going around the internet about this alleged Sea Devil redesign, who I forgot to mention in my initial video because I was putting it together very quickly, but he stood there for 10 hours to get that shot, which is just insane, and I couldn't imagine doing that, but that's how this image was taken and what they had to do to get this image. So, you know, it's a crazy amount of time to stand and wait for that, but that's where this image came from, so thanks to Jimmy Doctor. So the next comment is from Friendly Otaku 9525, who says, I'm thinking that's just one specific Sea Devil and not all of them, and I really hope it is, because if that's a redesign for all of them, yeah, I really don't like it at all. But if it's just a specific one, like a human Sea Devil hybrid, I can live with it. I really hope that's not how all the Sea Devils will look. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people speculating that maybe this is just some specific Sea Devils, like the main Sea Devils will be following throughout the show, and the rest of them are going to look like the normal Sea Devils. I'm not sure really how I think about that theory and how likely I think that is, because if just some Sea Devils kind of look like this, but then the rest of them look like normal Sea Devils, I think the difference between those two designs is way too big for it to kind of make sense and for them to be the same species. But they do mention later on in this comment that they think it could be a human Sea Devil hybrid, which I will get to later on in this video. So similarly, Andy WL6XY says, it might be a human Sea Devil hybrid or a brand new design. Either way, I can live with it. The original design will always be the best. So yeah, that's the thing. If this does end up being the actual new Sea Devil design, I'm not going to be a big fan of it, but obviously it's something we will have to just deal with. But obviously what this video is all about is it's very possible that this isn't an actual brand new Sea Devil design and it could be something else. So with that being said, what could this actually be if not a Sea Devil? So this next comment says, could this be one of the fish people from the Underwater Menace? And similarly, we have a comment from Loomy Bear, who says, I don't think that's a Sea Devil. Looks way more like those fish people from the Underwater Menace to me. Very early Patrick Troughton story. Same basic design. And so this is the main theory I've basically seen floated around the internet after this image was released to the public, basically, or put on social media, is this could be the fish people or Atlanteans from the second Doctor story, the Underwater Menace. And after looking at it, I did know about this story barely. I've not seen it myself personally, but I did know about it. And after looking at the fish people, or the Atlanteans from the Underwater Menace, I will say it does look very similar to them. It looks more similar to them than it does the Sea Devils, so I can definitely see that being the case. And particularly when you see the animation redesign that they did, I think this year or last year, it looks a lot more like them than it does the Sea Devils. And obviously that animation was released under the RTD2 era, after we thought all the animations had been cancelled and we weren't going to get any more. And I think the only other animation we've got during this era was for the Celestial Toymaker, so they may have picked that particular story to animate because they knew the Atlanteans or fish people from the Underwater Menace were going to make a return. So I think that's a very good theory. I think this is probably the theory I'm leaning towards the most as to what this creature could be if not a Sea Devil. But obviously, like I mentioned on the earlier comments, a few people have stated they think that it could be a human Sea Devil hybrid, which I think is certainly a possibility. Obviously there was a lot of speculation early on that Gugu Mbatha-Raw could be playing a Sea Devil herself, and so a redesign that's more humanoid would make sense if she is playing one of those. And if there's a Sea Devil human hybrid, then I think it's very likely that's who she could be playing. Although I did think at one point we did know that she was going to be playing a human character, but I don't know how confirmed that is, so it's definitely a possibility. So if this is the Atlanteans or the fish people from the Underwater Menace, are we going to be getting the Sea Devils and the Atlanteans in this spin-off? So I don't know too much about the original story that the Atlanteans or the fish people appeared in. Like I said, I've not seen it myself personally, so I think there's one of two ways this could go depending on what those characters or that species is normally like or has been portrayed like in the past. I think it will either be the humans will be fighting both the Sea Devils and the Atlanteans, which is why it's called the War Between the Land and the Sea and not something specific to the Sea Devils, like the Sea Devils aren't in the title. Or it could be that the Sea Devils are fighting against the humans and the Atlanteans are working with the humans, almost as like a mediator between the humans and the Sea Devils, so they're kind of able to talk between the land and the sea. But like I said, I've not seen that original story, The Underwater Menace, that the Atlanteans or fish people appear in, so I don't know which of these options is more likely and more in character for that species. So if you know, let me know in the comments down below. But there is one other possibility, that these are the Atlanteans or the fish people from The Underwater Menace, and the Sea Devils aren't going to appear in this at all, and we've been tricked into believing this was the Sea Devils so that we could get a surprise return of the Atlanteans or the fish people. Well, I think that is a possibility. I think it is very unlikely because I think it would be kind of not great to kind of lead us astray into believing we're getting a Sea Devil spin-off for it to be a different species entirely. So although I think that's a possibility, I think the more likely option that we're going to get here is that it's going to be the Sea Devils and the Atlanteans, or it is just going to be the Sea Devils and this is a Sea Devils redesign or a Sea Devil human hybrid. But let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. And not long after my initial video that I put out, I also put out a poll asking what you guys thought was the most likely option for this. Whether you thought that leaked image was a Sea Devil, an Atlantean or fish person from The Underwater Menace, a hybrid of human and Sea Devil, or something else. And the results for that poll were the Sea Devil got 31%, Atlanteans / the fish people from Underwater Menace got 50%, the hybrid option got 16%, and something else got 3%, although I don't think anybody actually commented what they thought the something else could be. So it seems like most of you believe this is more likely an Atlantean from The Underwater Menace or a fish person from The Underwater Menace than a Sea Devil, and I'm more leaning that way at the moment now, although I do still think it's very possible that this is a Sea Devil and they have unfortunately been redesigned quite drastically. But I do personally hope these are the Atlanteans or fish people from The Underwater Menace and they're going to appear alongside the Sea Devils in this show, because if not, then I'm not a big fan of the Sea Devil redesign if that's what this is. But what do you think is most likely? Let me know in the comments down below to what you think of these theories and what you would like the outcome of this to be. And if you want to know everything we know about the War Between the Land and the Sea so far, you can watch this video here.